Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Sam from Mr. Sam the Gamer.
In today's Grand Theft Auto 5 video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about how you can save money, stay rich, and how you can best prepare yourself to be able to afford everything that's going to be coming out in the next Grand Theft Auto Online DLC, which we know is Import and Export, coming out sometime in the month of December. How much money you're ultimately going to need for the next Grand Theft Auto Online DLC. And I came to the conclusion that it could be upwards of $40 to $50 million if you want to buy everything. The reason we know this is due to some leaks and something that Rockstar have already confirmed. Vehicles that could be between $1 and $6 million, some of them being $5.7 million. We obviously know the price of big executive offices and game and Benny's upgrades. So from that, I was able to kind of deduct that it would be around that 40 to 50, maybe even more $1 million price range. So now what I'm going to do today is talk about some of the things you can do to stay rich and save money during this update while still enjoying all of the content. So we'll start with some tips that have come from the leaks first, and then we'll move on to just some general rules that I have for updates. So one of the things that was stated was that a really big discount would be applied to the car you're actually going for by beating a special contact mission that uses that vehicle, and about $1 million or so will be taken off of the price of that car. So you guys have seen or heard some of the prices of these vehicles, like the Ruiner 2000 being $5.7 million. That sounds extreme. But what if you beat a contact mission that brought it down to $3 million? Does it now seem all that extreme now that it's only $3 million as compared to $5.7 million? So doing the contact missions before jumping out and buying the vehicles might be a great idea and something you might want to consider doing. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of people like to go gung-ho happy on the first day and just buy everything, but the special vehicle missions might give you some nice discounts. So consider beating those first. Also, you probably don't want to destroy any of the special mission vehicles, so that being the ramp buggy, the Joe-built Phantom Wedge, Ruiner 2000, Blazer Aqua, Technical Aqua, Rocket Voltic. You probably don't want to destroy those, because if you do, it's going to cost you $30,000. That's right, the new insurance premium on all of these vehicles is $30,000, which is pretty crazy. So Rockstar have kind of changed up the way the stealing and selling missions go, where you're no longer rewarded for destroying these vehicles, and now you definitely don't want to destroy them, because not only are you not rewarded, but you're given a penalty as well of $30,000 that you're going to have to pay to the person that you destroyed. So definitely don't do that. So speaking of not destroying cars, the way the reward system works this time is you can steal cars from other players' missions and store them in your own warehouse. So you could kind of act as a vulture in Grand Theft Auto Online lobbies, basically just waiting for someone to start a mission, then you doing one yourself and basically taking their car. That might be a strategy that you guys employ to make some money. But if you're on the other side of that, selling the vehicles, there's three types of missions. So I'm imagining there's going to be an easy, medium, and hard, where the hard one is going to give you the most amount of money. And those three options are either private buyer, car showroom, or specialist offer. So the private buyer is simple. You just get commission for selling a car. Car showroom is slight upfront payment to mod the vehicle, and then you received an increased payout upon delivery. And then specialist buyer is bigger upfront payment to mod the cars, but you receive the largest payout. So if you guys are looking to get the best possible payout from these missions and make the most money, you might want to consider doing the car showroom and the specialist offer. The only thing we don't know here is ultimately how difficult these missions are going to be. So another thing we should look out for is a collection of cars. So if you're lucky and you collect a set of cars, you can sell that collection for far more than a normal sell mission. But the leak states you'll need a specific amount of associates for collections. So for example, there might be 4 cars in a rally collection, meaning you'll need yourself and 3 other associates in order to get this done. So it seems like Rockstar is going to be putting an emphasis on teamwork here, but will reward you if your team is able to get a certain collection of vehicles. So you might want to consider doing those as compared to just doing the individual types of selling missions that we did mention earlier. Now, in case you don't have the money to get started as your own CEO, what you could possibly do is become an associate. So the way the associate pay is going to work is that each car sold while under an associate adds $500,000 to your payment, up to a maximum of $10,000. $500,000. So this is kind of confusing to me. Is it $500 for every car? Can you only sell, because if you do the math, 20 cars would equal $10,000 and then you can't earn any more. So I'm not sure how the associate system is going to work, but I would imagine that, if you don't have the money to become a CEO, being an associate might be a good way to help you get off the ground. And last but not least, as far as the leaks go, you probably don't want to damage the cars you're stealing, because the leak says if you damage the cars while stealing them, you're going to have to pay the repair cost. So let's say, for example, you do that specialist offer and you mod up the car and you drive it through all these different obstacles and barriers, and by the time you get to them, it's a hunk of junk. You've pretty much destroyed it. You're probably going to make less money here. So there's definitely going to be an importance on not trying to damage these cars and get them to the buyer as cleanly as they can, which is kind of something we've seen in the past with Simeon. You know that the better condition you bring him the vehicle is, the more you get paid. So I'm imagining it's going to be a very similar system to that. So now that we've got that out of the way, let me talk about some of my tips and tricks that I use on DLCs, and then if you're tight on money, you should probably use on DLCs as well. Number one, these items that we're going to see in this update will eventually go on discounts. We know that every week Rockstar is doing a new event week where they have bonuses and discounts, and I would imagine whenever this DLC comes out, probably about 2 or 3 weeks later, there's going to be some giant discounts on the vehicles and the content that releases. Whether it's 25% or whether it's 50%, they always do it. It could be the garages, it could be the vehicles, it could be some of the clothing or the masks. So if there is something you're going to want, but you don't really have the money for it right now, maybe instead of you either buying a shark card or doing extra work to get up the money, maybe you could just wait it out, and then eventually down the line, it will go on sale. So patience is definitely going to be key here, and patience should also be key here when it comes to dealing with all the new cars, clothing, and content. So if you have some really close friends or some crew members, maybe this is what you can do. You can do the sharing system. So because the vehicles are going to be so much, like we've seen, $1 million to $6 million is the rumor, one of you guys should buy one of the vehicles, another person should buy another one, etc., etc., etc. So instead of every single one of you guys buying every vehicle, or as many as you can, what you should do is kind of swap out. One person buys the Rocket Voltic, another person buys the Ruiner 2000. Then you can share it. You can see if you really like it, if you don't like it. So that way you can determine if you want to spend your money on it or not. Now, there is sort of a way to get around this if you don't want to buy the vehicles at all. If you play on PC, the cars will be available to mod into single player probably a day or two after the update itself comes out. So if you don't want to spend any of your money and you want to really test out these vehicles, PC is the way to go. But also, if you play on console, these vehicles will likely be added to the creator mode as well. So you could easily just create like a dummy capture mission with all the vehicles. That way you could drive around and test them out. Now, unfortunately, some of them might not all be available because some of them do look to be Pegasus style vehicles. So I'm not entirely sure how that works in the creator and in the capture mode itself, but this is something you should keep in mind before jumping into there and spending millions and millions of your hard-earned money. Moving on, another thing I can tell you guys is to not spend all your money on day one. We know that this update is likely going to be tied to a Christmas or holiday expansion, and although the rumor is that there's only going to be a little bit of content, like 2 cars coming with the Christmas update, those 2 cars could easily equal amounts of $1 million or $2 million. So don't just go blow all your money at once, because do know there is going to be another update coming out into the game right afterwards, although it might be a small one with the Christmas Holiday 2016 DLC, but I do think it is something you guys need to be aware about, that this isn't the only update coming. There's likely going to be a hidden tunables update coming into this DLC as well. And the last 2 real tips and tricks I can give you guys to get prepped for this update. One of them is please buy a CEO office right now. So if you do not have one, you will need one to participate in this update. Rockstar said it's an expansion of Finance and Felony. I talked about this in my video the other day, but I don't think I emphasized it enough. The offices are only on sale for like the next, couple days. I think like by the time you're watching this video, maybe like 24 or less than that hours remaining. Buy an office right now if you haven't. The cheapest one is now $500,000. They will never be that, cheap in the game as far as I know going forward, especially due to the fact that they're going to be used in the next DLC. And also, if you're worried about the success of these missions, you don't think you're going to be able to do them well, you should probably start doing some of the CEO buying and selling missions again. I don't know if you guys skipped over them or just didn't complete them in game, but since it's going to work like that, the system is going to be very similar. So this weekend, maybe you should probably hop into Grand Theft Auto Online, do some buying and selling missions, and who knows, you might get some good practice in, you'll make some good money as well, and it'll get you prepped for the process of how this is going to work in Grand Theft Auto Online. But really, that's all the information I have for you guys in this video today. Hopefully you did enjoy, and hopefully you learned a thing or two about how to stay rich, how to make some money, and the best way to go about buying or not buying the content that's going to be coming out soon in online. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And also, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new or you like daily GTA 5 videos like this. With all the way, guys, like I said, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.